everyone. Good to be back, especially on a Fantabulous Friday. We had our first kind of kickoff revamped back to podcast yesterday morning, which was great. But good morning, everyone. It is Friday, and anyone that follows us knows that what that means. It's Fantabulous Friday. So good morning, everyone. This is Carol, so AKA Naughty Boss, with
TwoSistas. Good morning, everyone. It's Janice, AKA Wellness Diva 5.0. Yes, Fantabulous Friday. And a funny thing happened on the way to downloading yesterday's podcast. So about a half an hour after that, I came back to it because it takes sometimes up to a half an hour for Zoom to get its recording stuff together. And my other computer died. Now, right now I'm on my Apple computer and I do the downloads to my laptop because it's just a lot easier. And I spent about 45 minutes trying to figure out like what is going on with the computer. How come I can't do it on there? And I tried doing it on the Apple, and I got myself all like flustered, and I just like, I can't deal with this. So I walked away from it. So this morning, and then I kind of forgot as the day went by. So this morning I go to the computer again. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, I put so much money into this computer operating, cleaning it up. Well, I'm like, maybe I should check and see if it's plugged in. So it was not plugged in, and that was the problem. So it just goes to show you that even though like these tech things happen and this happens, like just double check and make sure it's plugged in.
Operational error.
Oh yeah. And I'm kind of laughing at it.
Yeah, and it just doesn't normally happen to you. That would happen normally, would happen to me, not necessarily you. So that's why I'm snarking and being giggly about it, because I thought that was kind of funny. Because that would be something I would do. I would probably leave it alone for days before I would actually go to see whether it was plugged. Okay, let's just.
And then I go to upload it, and there's a little bit of a new procedure within Anchor. Anchor is our home-based platform, if you will. We are on 16 different platforms now. And I'm like, what is this? And why isn't it like, it's just a new procedure. So it is uploaded. It is definitely on our YouTube channel, and it's in our Facebook group, but I'm still trying to figure out what's going on Anchor. So, and that's a new thing. I will figure it out. Because I can't get that by me. So and yesterday was a little kooky for me, but we're starting to get back in the groove, and I'm ready to kick some acetabulum, get back on the groove, with my daily schedule, and making sure obviously that my son is well taken care of. And every day is a new day. Every day brings more blessings, and that's how I look at it. So what's happening in your world?
Let's see what is happening in my world. Well, let me tell you what's happening in my world.
Uh-oh.
I love a good triumph, even though we're, not on Triumph Tuesday, but I love a good triumph. And I think Americans deserve a good triumph. A lot of what's going on in our world, from either government, from your local government, your communities, our states, and or our country, we frequently chat about, obviously, because they do impact our health and wellness, but we also underscore the fact that we're not really in control, right? But the power of we the people, even just one, or in this case, 11, can work magic, can have success, can have, just locking arms and going after it. So I want to share some great news. So there was a vaccine. I'm going to actually read it from my phone because I got all the information. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. For those that can see me, obviously those that are listening, you don't even know what I'm doing. But anyways, I'm looking at my phone to get the actual accurate information. So there was a vaccine victory in Chicago, of all places, right? I can never pronounce it right either. Loyola University gave its students a sinister choice, because a lot of colleges and state schools and whatnot are doing the same thing, gave them a sinister choice to get vaccinated or they kick them out. So this college sent students and parents repeated menacing text messages threatening to expel them or all students who don't get the vaccination by this Friday, which would be today. So a law firm took it on and drafted a request for a religious exemption based on their beliefs that they should not partake in any kind of vaccine developed from or tested upon fetal cell lines from aborted babies. The college denied all those exemptions. You remember, part of our Constitution is about religious freedoms, right? So they denied all those exemptions, and they told the students they should just get over it for the common good. Now, for me, I'm pretty vocal about that. Whenever I hear someone using those phrases, because I've actually chatted with people that ran away from countries like that, got into our country legally by the legal channel, and when they hear that, and I question them several times, they cringe because it's such a socialist, communist type of statement, okay? So this particular law firm sent the college a legal demand letter informing them they were actually in violation of the law and asking them to rescind her. But guess what? The college ignored it, because, elitist colleges can do that, right? They drafted the law. So the law firm drafted a lawsuit, and they were actually scheduled to be in federal court yesterday at 10 a.m. because they wanted to give Loyola, I can never pronounce the damn thing, but whatever, every benefit of every doubt and every chance to change the course, because, law firms would rather, there's some law firms that are for the money, but there's other people that really want to contain it before you get into court and all that nonsense, because obviously it's time, it's money, all those things. So they sent them a final letter, and they said, the college's denial of religious exemptions to these students is unlawful. The students have retained, and they name the name of the council, to file a lawsuit against Loyola to vindicate their rights. We have drafted the suit papers and are prepared to file them today, but we are writing in a last attempt to avoid litigation. If we do not receive your written response granting these students the religious exemptions request by 10 a.m., which was yesterday, Thursday, August 5th, we will proceed to file the lawsuit that same day seeking emergency relief, including a temporary restraining order and damages. Poof, magic, rainbows, unicorns, just like that, just like that. The university sent each 11 students and their parents a message yesterday afternoon telling them that Loyola, I can never pronounce it, has changed its mind and that their exemption requests were now approved. Obviously, the students are very relieved. They no longer have to be forced, because, a lot of the students want to be at these colleges. They don't want to not be forced to go because, maybe they've got already established, they got friends that are going there. They like their professors, whatever it may be. So, but the law firm were smart. They said that they will make, if the university or college makes good on its threats to expel any student that has requested a religious exemption, we want to know about it. This particular law firm wants to know about it because the lawsuit has already been drafted and still can be filed. And they will promise that they will give the people, in this area and these students a leg to stand on. And I thought, wow. And I think part of the problem is people that believe in the vaccines, that believe in the masks, that believe in, and it's a matter of choice. No one's saying that you don't have the right to have that choice, but don't disrespect other people's choices. And that's the problem. I look back over the last, 6 months plus, and I see so many people that were so proud And it was their choice. So proud to, put on their social media ring that they got vaccinated or that they were in support of mandates. You didn't really see a lot of that from people that made a different choice. They just, went around their business or whatever. You had a few, but not overly crazy with vax parties and stickers on their arms and, some people posing with a, pretend needle or whatever, because it's personal choice. The problem I have with those kinds of elitists, because that's what they are, they think they're above everybody because they're doing the greater good, right? Such a socialistic mentality. I wish they would understand that. However, that's their choice, but it's not their choice to go after those that made a different choice. And that's the point. As Americans, we have choices. This may be a good fit for one person. This may be a good fit for another. But don't I only debate it when it comes, if someone's actually just talking about their choice, I respect that. But if someone's going to argue why they made the choice based on false facts, that's when I'll get into the ball game of statistics. So the other interesting statistic that kind of came along with this story is an interesting story about Massachusetts, because we know that Massachusetts is a blue state. And we understand that Governor Baker has made a mandate order for all those that work in nursing homes, mandating them to get the shot, to get the vaccine, right? Again, personal choice, and I'm not saying right, wrong, it's a health industry. Again, I think that goes to personal choice because it has to do with personal liberties, right? But the point being is colleges are now kind of jumping on that bandwagon. And there is one particular senator, state senator in Massachusetts, I think her name is Becca Rosh, who is really pushing for mandating the vaccine. And right now, religious freedoms is still on the table. That's part of our government. So for those that, they just give up, they comply, you're part of the problem. If you truly don't believe that that's an avenue for you and you choose not, don't let people stamp on your right to make that choice. And I think that's the problem I have, one side versus the other, because I think the real pandemic is actually the division. You can have a normal conversation most of the time with somebody that, makes that choice. And those that truly get it for the right reasons in their mind, and it's their belief, are very eloquent when they explain that. They, I'm in that category, or I really feel this is best to me. So I have nothing but respect for them. It's the ones that broadcast it and are now bullying and shaming those that have made a different choice. And that's part of the narrative of the pandemic, is division. And a lot of people don't see that. The other big piece to all these things going on, and people say, why do you think now the push is? So interesting, what I was going to say before I get to this one last point, and then I'll hand it over to you, is in Massachusetts, I believe the state is between 75 and 85% vaccinated, the whole state. It's a blue state, a lot of people, and my numbers may be off a little bit, so I just want to make sure I let people know that, but it's somewhere in the 70 to 80% range, somewhere in there, right? Well, right now, hospitalization, 74% of all people that are now in the hospitals in Massachusetts are people that got vaccinated, are patients that got vaccinated. So unless you really, and that's data, the point being, you want to have the conversation and a good conversation with others. Knowledge is power. Find out the information first. I had one particular gentleman go off earlier this morning in the wee hours of the morning. And I ended up getting the alert where, he was basically using the argument, for good for all. And, we just talked about vaccinations versus voter ID and, what is the big deal? Well, there is a big deal, because if you've got to show your voter ID, or you have to show your ID, a photo ID to get your vaccination, right? You have to actually show a picture ID when you enter a hospital as a patient. You have to show a picture ID to buy cigarettes in a lot of states, alcohol, when you board a plane, when you actually enter the airline. So there's a lot of times that you have to present, even when you move from state, that you have to present a photo ID. So you're asking people to give up their liberties to not get something that still we would require them to use their photo ID, but then you want to use the voter ID fraud as a, an argument. Get your facts, people, and the bottom line is that's, if you don't understand that all this going on, that the real pandemic is division, and it also has to do with the 2022 and 2024 election. I don't want to say woke because that word is so overplayed in so many weird ways. I'm going to say wake the F up. And I'm going to send it over to you now.
Wow, that was a mouthful. So as you may have noticed, I make faces a lot of times like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. Here's my take on the, first of all, I just want to say, and I'm almost positive I said this before, there are trigger words for me that just, are cringeworthy. One of them is mandate. When I hear that word mandate, what is that based on in that certain situation as it pertains to what we're chatting about, the vaccinations and whatnot? There can be, in my mind, no logical or ethical type of discussion if we don't initially agree to respect one another's decision, whether to mask up, whether to get the jabba dabba do. I certainly, I know people within our family that have gotten the vaccination, and I respect their decision to do so. I am not vaccinated. I choose not to get the vaccine for reasons that I will not get into because they just fire me up. But suffice it to say, when you, how am I trying to say this? When you inject or argue I want to say a moot point, although it's not moot to that person, if you're not being respectful in your delivery, the person that you're trying to have that conversation with may hear you, but they're not going to listen. So if you're always in that attack mode in your approach, and when the government is saying follow the science, but they're not following the science, well, of course, there's going to be a lot of confusion. And I understand that. But when you inject your feeling that somebody is not doing what you want them to do, and you argue that point, you're not going to get anywhere. So if somebody came up to me and said, hey, why aren't you getting the vaccination? Like, I have no problem people asking me that. And my response is, based on my research and my beliefs, I'm not going to get it. That's where the discussion for me ends. When that person may insinuate and continue to peck at it, you're not going to get anywhere with me. I respect your decision to do what you feel you need to do, what's right for you and your family, or your different circumstance, or wherever you are in your health journey. Somebody very close to us who is a little bit older and has some health issues chose to get the vaccine. I'm fine with that. That's their decision. I respect that. You can't have it both ways, so to speak. So my message is be kind, be vigilant, arm yourself with knowledge, because knowledge is power. That's where the power is. And for those in prominent different offices where it's going to mandate this and mandate that, and I will just say that, and I'm kind of segue over into New York, so to speak, where they now you have to show, there are mandates there. You have to show it for the gym, your vaccination, to be in restaurants, the this and that. You could not pay me to flip and go to New York, even before they did that. De Blasio, and I think Fox News refers to him as Comrade de Blasio, and I crack up every time I hear that. And I've had a lot of opportunities to go in for different auditions. Not happening. You could not.
You know, the key piece to all of that too, when you use that word mandate, when you have the person occupying the people's house reiterate, die or get the vaccine, do you say that to all the illegal aliens that you're allowing to come through over our border? So
I know, yeah.
Mandate Americans, but you don't want to mandate illegals. And if, you know, regardless of what, you know, we know that a certain party sticks with a certain party, and they're stuck like whatever that kind of glue is that you can't, you know, they show all those commercials. Oh, I can lift, you know, 100 pounds of this one dabba dabba do glue. That is what one party is. They don't care what the facts are. They don't care what the knowledge is. They don't care what statistics or actual real data shows. If they were told that all these illegal aliens were murderers, and some of them are, we can't deny that, that doesn't matter to them. So at what point does a logical person say, this just doesn't make sense? You're mandating Americans that are taxpayers, that are legal citizens, but you're protecting and you're not mandating illegals to these same standards. And in fact, you're part of the reason why things are getting out of control again. You're facilitating the pandemic you claim you want to squish by having these people come in, having them get on a bus and giving them a free ticket or a plane flight. Well, the plane has a staff. So now you've got Americans that work on this that are now being exposed. When you know as an American citizen, what are the airlines doing? Have you been exposed to the virus lately? Do you have a temperature? Does anyone not see the irony in this? So Americans have to comply, but illegals do not.
Yeah, they're oh my God, don't even get me going. Even, you know, when making the travel arrangements to go to and from Philly, specifically ask you, have you recently been, you know,
I think my answer to that question, I don't normally fill them out, but I think the next time I do, I'm going to say I'm an illegal alien. Just to see what would happen. Because it's so like crazy would be the word, alternative universe that we're living in right now. So when you have those things staring at your face and you're still defending the person in the White House, when you're also following the mandates that you feel you have to for your own personal reasons, I don't find anybody with integrity that says they want to protect and get rid of a pandemic when they're actually inciting a pandemic or continuing to incite in a pandemic. So forget about January 6th. We've got our own insurrection act going here with the American people from the government, you know, inciting their baloney. So when you have that staring in your face, at some point you have to say, these things don't add up, and it does impact your health and wellness. So I say to that, kudos to these 11 students. It was great news to get that on first thing in Friday morning, and it's we the people. So when people say, well, I'm only one person, and they give up and they just comply, remember, you're not just one person. And even if you are, you may just lock arms with others that feel the same way, that maybe need that little extra boost to know that they're not in it alone. And these 11 students and the parents took that fight and won. So those students that are in specifically that I know that are really having a tough time in Massachusetts because of all the cray-cray that's going on in that state, fight, you know, don't take it laying down, find out your options. There are many law firms that are willing to help people out because they're infuriated. They're trying to live by the law that they were scholared on to help people. And, you know, when you got when you have people in DC that are perpetrating going against the Supreme Court, you know there's a problem. So that's a whole other story. But
yeah, I can go on and on about this topic. But anyways, it is Fantabulous Friday. We're back on the road to normalcy, getting back to different routines. And, every day brings new blessings. And for that, I am truly, truly grateful. And we will continue to keep you updated. And on that note, my name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0. We got a great week coming up for you next week. And I am with
TwoSistas, and this is Carol Sue, aka Naughty Boss. And it is Fantabulous Friday. Look at the blessings, look at the things. Tune out too much stuff that goes on in our world, because it really can drive you cuckoo and cray-cray. That's normal. You're just being human. But you know what? Count your blessings. Look for them. They're all around you. You just got to open up your mind, your heart, and your mind. You guys have a great weekend, and we will see you Monday for Mindset Monday. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.